Wrigley Field, the Cubs are 2.5 out in third in the NL Central. And Atlanta tied for third with the Mets in the East, only 4 back of first place Philadelphia. Aramis Ramirez is back. And let's look in on the Atlanta Braves Southwest starting lineup. Atlanta 2-1 against the Cubs, with the previous 3 games coming at Turner Field. Nate McLeod, the former Pirate at center. Martin Prado, the National League Player of the Week. He only hit .577 last week. Jones, McCann, Anderson, and then Yunel Escobar, the shortstop. Casey Kochman at first. Matt Diaz red hot lately, and Jurgens, the pitcher, hits 9.
Take a look at the Cubs defensively. Soriano, Fukudome, Bradley across the outfield. The new guy, Aramis Ramirez, back at third base. Good to see his name in the lineup. Ryan Theriot at short. At second, Derek Lee over at first base. Giovanni Soto doing the catching tonight for right-hander Randy Wells. I'll tell you, Len, you get a look at his numbers on the season, you could make an argument that Randy Wells should have 7, 8, maybe even as many as 9 victories at this point in the season, the way he has pitched.
And he's ready to work against Nate McLeod. Ball 1, according to Darrell Cousins, the crew chief, working the plate. Set the rest of the umpires here in a second. And a base hit into center on the second pitch. So McLeod is aboard to start it. So it is Cousins back at the plate. This is his 31st year in the majors. Todd Tichenor, Jim Joyce. We're not going to hear that till Wednesday. And Bill Miller on the bases. Just sent a bunch of dogs listening, screaming out into the hallway.
Well, Jim Joyce has the same effect.
Ball 1 on Martin Prado, who had taken over time at second. There's Jim Joyce. While Kelly Johnson was healthy, and Johnson eventually ended up on the disabled list. It's a strike. 1-1. Johnson with right wrist tendonitis, but Prado, as we said, hitting .577 over the last week. Yesterday in Washington, he went 4 for 4 with a walk, so he got on 5 times and he did not score a run.
Wow.
Which is hard to do. And our associate producer Tamara Anderson asked the Elias Sports Bureau the last time that had happened. I was curious if that's rare. And it's happened already 3 times this season. His teammate Brian McCann had 4 hits and a walk against Baltimore on June 12th and didn't score. Soriano in left. The hop, the catch, and the first out.
We always talk about the wind at the beginning of a ball game here at Wrigley Field. Appears to be blowing across from right to left. Might help some balls hit in the air to left field. Should knock balls down, hit in the air to right field.
So technically blowing in out of the east, which is a good thing when Chipper Jones comes to the plate from the left side. 417 career home runs for Chipper Jones. And normally when you play the Braves, you worry about Jones and McCann the most. But in terms of what's gone on lately, it's Prado and Diaz. The 2 and 8 hitters have been their hottest guys.
It's not unusual for a major league lineup. You expect a certain amount of consistency from the guys in the middle of the batting order, your 3, 4, 5 hitters, and occasionally the guys at the top and the bottom will get red hot for a week or more at a time and carry the ball club. But you expect that consistent performance from your guys in the middle.
I don't think the Cubs aren't worried about Chipper Jones and the Braves all-star Brian McCann, who's on deck. Cubs have done a pretty good job against Chipper Jones. He's hit .271 in his career. That's below his overall career average, which is over 300.
Only 9 home runs on the year for Chipper Jones, and 5 of those have come from the right side of the plate. There was a time in his career that most teams chose to turn Chipper around to the right side in game-winning situations, but he has really leveled out his numbers from the right side of the plate. So now it's a pick-your-poison situation. You just go with the matchup that you like best out of your own bullpen, no regard to whether Chipper's batting right-handed or left-handed.
70s night being honored tonight here at Wrigley Field. Chipper's hit .203 in 48 career games in this ballpark. The pitch fouled back. Bleachers packed. Grandstand not quite full just yet, and I think that's because of the 1 hour earlier start time. A lot of people scrambling to get here after work. So there are a lot of people who didn't want to go back to work today after a long holiday weekend. Some may just have decided not to. But we're glad you're with us tonight. 3-2 on Jones, and we'll see if McLeod is on the move. Good chance he will be.
10 out of 11 in stolen base attempts this year. The one caught stealing was against the Cubs.
He does take off for second, and Wells knocks it down and throws on to first to get Chipper Jones. Nicely done by the pitcher, keeping that ball out of center field.
We talk a lot about Randy Wells' poise on the mound, how he doesn't seem to rattle when he gets runners on base, and the same thing could be said for his fielding out there on the mound. Ball rattled around, hit him a couple of different places, still had the presence of mind to check second base first to see if there was a chance to get the lead runner, and then toss on to first to get Chipper.
Now the catcher, Brian McCann, found out yesterday, made the All-Star team, which he's done every year in terms of all of his full seasons in the majors. No other Brave has ever made the All-Star game in the first 3 seasons, let alone 4. Hank Aaron made it 3 of his first 4.
And then every year after that.
Yeah. Elias reporting the last catcher to be an All-Star. First 4 full seasons of his career. Mike Piazza did it 10 straight years. One and one on McCann. Garrett Anderson is on deck. I don't even have to look it up. I can tell you that Garrett Anderson has never played at Wrigley Field. Why? Because he had been a career Angel and they've never been here. This is his first year in the National League. High in the air to right for Milton Bradley. That's the 3rd out. They get a leadoff single from McLeod, but no runs. The Cubs are coming up. If Ramirez bats in the first, that means the Cubs will have something cooking because he's 5th in the lineup. How the Cubs will line up in the bottom of the first. Their Southwest starting lineup. Everybody talking about Aramis Ramirez back in the lineup. First game in almost 2 full months. So he'll bat between Milton Bradley and Alfonso Soriano. Right-hander Jair Jurgens, 23 years old, from Curacao, 6'1", 200 pounds. And ball 1 to Kosuke Fukudome. He's in the top 5 in earned run average in the National League at 273.
89 base hits and over 102 innings pitched. Low opponent's batting average. Lefties fare considerably better than the right-handers. Jurgens will feature a fastball that sits in the high 80s to the mid 90s. A really good straight changeup and a slider, and he'll mix all 3 pitches to righties and lefties.
Two and 1 to Fukudome. Jurgens keeps the ball in the ballpark. He's 8th in the league in ERA on the road, 4th at night. And the fastball catches the outside corner of the plate. 2-2. Terrio next, and then Derek Lee. Jurgens facing the Cubs for the first time. Braves are hanging around their division because they pitch extremely well. In the left and a base hit. Kosuke is 4 for 9 from that leadoff spot. This is his 3rd consecutive start batting first.
Let's take a look at the Braves defensively. Garrett Anderson in left, Nate McLouth in center, Matt Diaz over in right field. Chipper at third base, Yunel Escobar at shortstop, Martin Prado at second. Casey Kochman over at first base. The All-Star Brian McCann behind the plate for right-hander Jair Jurgens.
Ryan Terrio coming in at 289. Throw over to first, and Fukudome is back.
We know how much Lou does not like to give up outs, especially early in a ball game. But sometimes the opposing pitcher will make you change your plans. Jurgens doesn't figure to give up much in this ball game tonight, and with that in mind, it wouldn't surprise me to see Ryan Terrio try to put down a sac bunt, or to see Lou and the Cubs play a little hit and run here.
And Terrio does get down the bunt. Jurgens calling for it and throwing to first. Kochman covering, and it is a sacrifice for Terrio. Prior to tonight's game, John Keeley of Edward Jones Investments presented the Edward Jones Player of the Month Award to Derek Lee for his outstanding play in the month of June. Visit your local Chicagoland Edward Jones Investments and make sense of your investing. Three homers and 10 RBIs against Milwaukee. Production coming in games 1 and 4 of that series as he hits it foul off to the right. I don't have the official research in front of me, but I'm assuming Jair Jurgens, that's the first Jair to appear in a major league game. It's J-A-I-R. I guess that J is a soft J. Jair, and then Jurgens, just like it's spelled. J-U-R-R-J-E-N-S.
Why is the first J soft but the Jurgens is not?
I don't know. That's a good question. Should have been an investigative reporter. You'd have been good at it. Good on 60 Minutes.
I have a lot of questions. I have very few answers.
That's okay. Really smart people ask a lot of questions.
Well, hopefully the Cubs won't have as much trouble figuring out his pitches as we do figuring out his name.
Just missed. 3-1.
I mentioned Randy Wells' poise in the top of the first inning of this ball game, and Jurgens apparently a guy right out of the same mold. You look at the batting average against him with runners in scoring position, 192, and with runners on base in general, only 190.
kicking the 3-1. Foul tip, strike 2.
Georgia's coming off probably the best outing this season anyway. 7 innings of 1 hit, 1 unearned run baseball against the Philadelphia Phillies. The Braves won that one 11-1.
And he took a no-hitter into the 7th. It was broken up by former Cub Paul Bacco with 2 outs in the 7th. Deep drive for Derek Lee. He's done it again. That's a 2-run homer. Well, Jurgens does a good job of keeping the ball in the park, but not that time. For the 2nd straight day, Derek with a 2-run first inning homer.
Big for a number of reasons, Len. Number 1, it puts the Cubs on the board. Our Heineken home run replay, hanging slider on the inside part of the plate, and as he's done a lot recently, Derek Lee does not miss mistakes. Another reason that's important, we've talked a lot about Aramis Ramirez in the days leading up to this first start off the disabled list, and the more pressure you can take off him, the more offense the rest of the lineup can provide, the softer the landing is going to be for Aramis. I mean, we're all hoping for great things and hoping Aramis picks up right where he left off, but the reality is it may take him a week or more to get his timing up there at the plate.
1 strike on the cleanup man. Make it 0-2 to Milton Bradley. The Braves have, as a staff, keep the ball in the ballpark. They've allowed the fewest by far home runs in the majors, just 55 even after that Derek Lee homer. They lead the NL and the major leagues.
Dodgers and Giants both play in very big pitcher-friendly ballparks.
Still 2 strikes on Bradley. Broken bat liner right at Prado. 2 down.
Stepping to the plate, 3rd baseman, number 16, Aramis Ramirez.
Ramirez is back, batting 5th. And he rolls 1 to 2nd, picked up by Prado. So Aramis is 0 for 1, but the Cubs have the early lead on Derek Lee's 16th homer of the season. And it's 2-0 Cubs after 1. Randy Wells working with a 2-0 lead. Ball one. Garrett Anderson playing left. Rays have struggled to get big production out of their outfield. That's how they went out and got Nate McLouth. It was over a month ago. Jeff Francoeur has struggled. So Matt Diaz has been in right the last few days. Anderson has spent some time on the DL this year. He's been in a good stretch, hitting .317. As he swings and misses, it was over his last 161 at bats. Wells with his first strikeout.
Good change up down low, gets Anderson way out in front. Well, we talked about Randy Wells in past starts. The thing I think that really makes Randy an effective starting pitcher, obviously he's got decent stuff, but every pitch comes right out of the same arm slot. Every delivery is the same. He's got that ability to repeat his delivery. That's what pitching coaches like to talk about, a guy that can repeat his delivery and disguises all of his pitches because he throws them all out of exactly the same arm slot.
2-0 on shortstop Yunel Escobar. He had been bothered by a sore right hip flexor. As he deposits one in the left center, Kosuke gets there quickly and keeps Escobar at first base.
Well, talking about Randy Wells' delivery, let's take a look at it. Jimmy John's delivery. We'll watch Randy Wells, and he'll look the same on every pitch out of the windup. He looks the same on every pitch out of the stretch. Gets that arm up in a high three-quarter slot. He throws his fastball, his slider, his changeup, all from that same delivery. Jimmy John's America's favorite sandwich delivery guys.
First baseman Casey Kochman. Ball one outside.
And some pitchers, whether they do it intentionally to try to get more movement on their breaking pitches, will drop their arm angle a little bit. Sometimes get their hand on the side of the ball instead of behind the ball.
A fly to right as Bradley sets. 2 outs.
We saw a great illustration of that in Randy's last start against the White Sox, or 2 starts ago actually, against Jose Contreras, a guy who relies on deception, but he does it by changing his arm angle from directly over the top all the way down to sidearm. And Wells uses the same arm slot for all of his pitches, and both guys equally deceiving in their own way.
You have to be careful with Matt Diaz. He's 13 for his last 21. You have the pitcher Jurgens on deck with 2 outs. 1 strike to Diaz. First of 3, then the Cubs' first off day in over 3 weeks. That'll be on Thursday. The Cardinals come in Friday for 4. That includes a day-night doubleheader on Sunday to end the first half. Not too many 8-hitters in baseball are hitting .320.
If you hit .320 for very long in the 8 spot, usually you work your way up.
A fly to right. Bradley's back on the warning track. And he makes a catch right up against the vines. Nicely done by Milton Bradley. Diaz gave it a ride. Bradley went all the way back to get it. Took a quick look back at the wall. And the inning is over. 2-0 Cubs. Alfonso Soriano will start the Cubs second. He lead off more often as a 6-hitter as he lines out to Chipper Jones. Well, I think he's led off more, batting 6th.
It's odd how that works out, you know, the way that lineup rolls around. We talked about it earlier this season, all the furor about whether Soriano should lead off or hit 5th or 6th or 4th or wherever in the lineup. But really after the first inning, it's just a matter of good fortune how the lineup rolls around.
It's the 5th time in 3 games he's led off an inning. Same amount of times as Kosuke Fukudome. Soto airs it out into right. This is a long run for Diaz, and he's going to get there.
Milton Brownlee made a nice catch out in right field to end that last half inning. You can see you can go another 3 or 4 or 5 steps if you're closer to the foul line at that well area out there in right field. And Milton took a quick look, got back there close to the ball, and used 2 hands to catch that ball up against the vines.
So 2 quick outs, and Mike Fontenot will try to keep the inning alive for Randy Wells. It's been hot, 8 for his last 19. Modest 5-game hitting streak. One of the offshoots of the moves today, 2 position players and a pitcher coming back, and 2 pitchers, well, one being optioned and the other being put on the DL, and 1 position player optioned out, as the Cubs will go with an 11-man pitching staff for the time being. Hit hard by Fontenot for his 9th hit his last 6 games. The inning still alive for Randy Wells. So Lou will have a little more flexibility on his bench, but 6 instead of 7 relievers.
Well, that really puts the emphasis on your starting pitchers getting deep into the ball game, something they've been able to do for the most part in the first half of the season. And also, I'm sure Lou and Larry have their eye on that Sunday doubleheader against the St. Louis Cardinals coming up. You'd like to give that bullpen as much rest as possible leading into that weekend series.
And along those lines, Carlos Zambrano, who will start Wednesday afternoon right here on Comcast Sportsnet, could be available on Sunday out of the bullpen if needed. The way the rotation lines up now, Z would probably be the first pitcher after the All-Star break in Washington a week from Thursday. Kicking the 1-1, Randy Wells with a line shot base hit to right. His 4th career hit. Former catcher.
He started to have better at bats. The more plate appearances he's had, the more pitches he's seen. That's a nice swing right there. Keeps his head right down the barrel of the bat, lines it into right field for a single. That's an unexpected surprise. I was happy that Mike Fontenot got his base hit just to get Randy Wells to the plate here in the 2nd inning and get him out of the way for the top of the order. And now an opportunity, if Kosuke can do something here, to score another run.
Randy Wells wearing the jacket to stay warm. 77 degrees, but he still goes with the jacket. An easterly wind, not blowing very hard. Georgians has a sign from McCann. Here he comes. Pulled fair over Kochman. Fontenot will score easily. Wells on his way to 3rd. He'll be held by Mike Quade, and Kosuke having a great homestand. He's 2 for 2 tonight. A big day yesterday as well. It's 3-0.
Well, that ball is smoke. They tried to come inside with a fastball. It's straight out over the heart of the plate, about belt high, and as Kosuke has done a lot recently, he squared it up and hit it hard down into that right field corner.
All this started after 2 were out in pretty quick fashion. 1-0 to Terrio. Ground ball in the hole, backhanded, and a little hesitation. Save! Escobar just with a slight hesitation. Terrio able to beat it out. Wells scores. That's a hard-earned RBI on an infield single by Ryan Terrio. 4-0.
Say, Len, this game is amazing. Whether it was Abner Doubleday or somebody else that invented it. That slight hesitation by Yunel Escobar at shortstop turns that into an infield hit and RBI for Ryan Terrio. If he gets the ball out of his glove on the first grab, Terrio's probably out at first. This game is just perfect.
They're at the corners for Derek Lee. Escobar with another chance. He'll flip to Prado to force Terrio, but 2 more, and the Cubs have stretched their lead to 4-0 after 2. Clubhouse join Kip and Chris for Sports Night presented by Dex tonight after Cubs postgame live only on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Randy Wells pitching in on offense as the Cubs got a couple more in the second, and he's 1-1 on Jair Jurgens. McLeod and then Prado. 1-2. Johnny Cueto off to a great start this year, but he's having a rough night in Philadelphia. As Jurgens strikes out, Cueto charged with 9 runs as the Phillies scored 10 in the first inning. Ouch.
Ouch is right.
His ERA up to 3.45. It was at 2.69. So Jurgens, Bob, is now 4th in the National League in ERA. Even though he's had a tough start here tonight. Actually, he's over 3 as well after giving up the 4 runs in the first 2 innings. Strike to McLeod. So the Phillies heating up at home, where they have really struggled early this season, looking for their 4th straight win. They just swept the Mets. So Wells ahead of McLeod. Extending that hit streak tonight with a leadoff single. The pitch called strike 3. Got him on a fastball.
Nothing tricky here. Just comes right at him with a low fastball at the knees on the inside corner. McLeod maybe thought that ball was inside, but he's mistaken. We talk about that Phillies ball club. They lead the National League in home runs by 14 over the nearest competitor in second place. They've hit 110 homers this year. Going into play tonight.
3 in the first inning tonight.
Okay, make it 113 then. Rockies had 96 going into play tonight, as did the Milwaukee Brewers, but Phillies hammering that ball out of the ballpark.
Well, the big change for them is Jimmy Rollins is heating up. I think he's 8 for his last 15 after a long slump. Scored twice in that first inning in Philly. Derek got a glove on it, but couldn't put it away. And in the bullpen, very rare to see him drop one. No play, no error on Lee.
That ball wasn't really hit that high where Derek had an opportunity to look away and see where he was in relation to that bullpen down the right field line. He had to keep his eyes on the baseball. Knew he was getting close to that bullpen bench and just came up a little bit short.
Don't want to give Martin Prado too many extra chances, especially in front of Jones and McCann. Terrio comes in to get it, and Wells with a shutdown third. He goes 1, 2, 3. Cubs 4, Braves nothing. leads off the home half of the third inning. He lined out to the second baseman, Prado, in the first inning. Jurgens has not gotten comfortable yet on that mound here at Wrigley Field, pitching here for the first time.
That's the way you like it. You don't want opposing pitchers to get comfortable on the mound here at Wrigley. You want to make their experience very uncomfortable, so when you see them again in the future at some point, they'll have bad memories of this place.
Long look by Jurgens. Now he winds and fires on an 0-2. And it's a little bit outside. 1-2.
Grab the chips.
Like a 3D movie.
Wow.
Speaking of chips, Eric Estrada will handle our seventh inning stretch. Thanks for the segue.
Way to tie it all together, partner.
In the dirt, he's running full. We want to send out get well wishes to our good friend Tom Hoover, one of our great camera operators here at Wrigley Field. He got into an accident. He actually rode his bicycle to work yesterday, and on the way home got in a nasty accident, broke his wrist. And Tom, we hope you're back out here, but we just hope you're feeling better tonight. Get well soon as Bradley takes ball 4. An excellent at bat. He started 0-2 and ended up taking a walk. This Wednesday is Lifeway Foods Day here at Wrigley Field. Game time 1:20, but be sure to arrive early. The first 5,000 children 14 and younger will receive a stuffed Pro Bug. Compliments of Lifeway Foods. Lifeway. Go with the flow. Ramirez on the first pitch. Grounded out to second his first time, and he takes a fastball for a strike this time. First game since he dislocated his left shoulder on May 8th in Milwaukee. 3 rehab games with single A Peoria. Good to see him take that patented Aramis Ramirez hack. It's definitely something you want to see him do without injuring or re-injuring that shoulder. He's going to have some soreness. Probably not quite at 100%, but well enough to jump back in there. He went 3 for 6 with a double, an RBI, and 2 runs for the Peoria Chiefs.
Reed Johnson, who accompanied Aramis Ramirez on their rehab outing down to single A Peoria, said he was definitely testing that shoulder. He was swinging for the fences in his last rehab game.
Pulls that one right to third. So he's grounded out and lined out. And it brings up Soriano.
I mentioned it earlier in the ball game. It may take a few games. It may take a week or more for Aramis to really feel locked in up there at the plate. It's a natural instinct when you're facing good quality major league pitching every day to get a little jumpy, maybe get a little over anxious. Expand your strike zone a little bit more than you normally would, but we'll find it quickly, I'm sure.
0-1 on Soriano. Bradley at first, 1 out. It's a Cub fan right there.
It's not a wig.
Two and 1. Jurgens came over from Detroit on October 29th of 2007, along with outfielder Gorkis Hernandez, in exchange for shortstop Edgar Renteria. Hernandez later involved in that McLeod deal with the Pirates. Left center, up through the alley for Soriano. Bradley on his way to third. Soriano to second with a double.
That is good to see. That ball was struck crisply off the barrel of the bat. A lot of topspin on that line drive. That passed Yunel Escobar at shortstop and just shot all the way to the warning track before McLeod could get over there and cut it off. Cubs have a couple guys in scoring position here for Gio.
And the Braves bring their infield in already down by 4. And Soto took a big cut and he missed it. Mentioned earlier, the Braves winning 2 of 3 in Atlanta in 2 separate trips. Last year the Cubs went 6-0 versus the Braves, sweeping both sets.
Gio mad at himself right there. He got a pitch he thought he should have done some damage with, fouled it straight back.
Gotta borrow your shirt. Tell by the reaction of Jurgens, he really wanted that pitch and didn't get it from Darryl Cousins. Another real close one. Jurgens put his hands on his hips, and I guarantee you Bobby Cox is letting Darryl Cousins hear it.
31 years behind home plate. It wouldn't be the first time that Bobby Cox has gotten on Darryl Cousins.
A good eye by Soto. Fontenot on deck. Started a 2-out rally in the previous inning with a base hit.
Slider well down out of the strike zone, running the count full.
Here comes a 3-2, and that one badly missed. He tried to throw him a slider, and they're loaded up for Fontenot. Like twice Jurgens in this inning, going to 0-2 counts and eventually walking that batter.
And a couple of what Jurgens thought were missed pitches in that sequence of Giovanni Soto may have rattled him a little bit out there, because he missed badly with those last 2 pitches.
It's Roger McDowell, former big league closer and their pitching coach.
Yes, dear.
Oh, yeah, you can see it. I know, Bob. It says at the bottom. They're quoting you. Fontenot, the base is loaded. Swing and the miss. Good changeup from Jurgens. Two walks and a double in the inning. Braves at double play depth. Kochman plays even with first base. Outside, 1-1. Got 8 runs yesterday. They won that big weekend series against Milwaukee, 3-1. Ground ball. Kochman coming home. Little bobble there, but they get 1, and that's it.
Hard hit ball right to the Braves' first baseman. As you mentioned, Len had trouble finding the handle right there. That eliminated any chance of a double play. And once again, you get Randy Wells to the plate here in this inning.
Well, the base is still loaded. Soriano now at third, Soto at second, and Fontenot at first. Some early action. Chris Medlin is up for the Braves. Escobar will throw to first. What a play by Yunel Escobar to rob Randy Wells of an RBI hit. It is 4-0 after 3. Synchronized tonight. How many different countries were represented by the Cubs in the 2008 All-Star game? Now, I should say, for those sticklers out there, one is a territory and not technically a country. But I'm just going to keep it kind of generic, saying countries. We'll say countries or territories. 8 Cubs All-Stars. Chipper Jones with a base hit into right center as Fontenot dived but couldn't get it. Well, as we check out the Menards grounds crew taking care of the beautiful field and the friendly confines. We know the United States was represented last year. Kerry Wood. All-Star team.
Kosuke Fukudome representing Japan.
That's 2. Ryan Brewster from Canada. That's 3. Mentioned the territory. Giovanni Soto from Puerto Rico. The Dominican Republic. And Soriano and Ramirez made it, right? Carlos Marmol. Getting pretty close. Oh, 2 to McCann is outside on a fastball at 93. A little extra heat from Randy Wells. Fontenot can't quite get it, just off the top of his glove.
Zambrano from Venezuela. McCann went way out off the outside corner of the plate to get that ball, and just does get it high enough to get over the outstretched glove of Mike Fontenot.
I was trying to figure out if Z was on the team last year. Yeah, Venezuela. So I think if you added him up, that'll be 5 or 6, right?
Looks like 6. I'm guessing 6.
Well, if the question was how many planets were the 8 All-Stars from, it would be 1.
Well, Zambrano, that's questionable.
Technically 1. Could have gone hemispheres, continents, what have you. Let's see where Derek goes to second. Relay throw, not in time. Tried to do it the hard way, 3-6-1, but Anderson able to beat the relay throw. So they're at the corners with 1 out.
Smart play to go this direction because it keeps the double play in order for the next hitter, Yunel Escobar. You get that lead man at second base. You take a shot at the batter at first base. Wells did his job getting over there to cover, but Anderson able to leg it out. Escobar, along with Jeff Francoeur, lead this Braves team, grounding into 10 double plays this season.
Wow, is that a big rip? And then he fouled it back. He likes these spots. 405 with runners in scoring position, second in the National League. He hits righties very well, 324. Go up a base hit. It's 4-1 as Escobar is 2 for 2 and has come up with a run saving defensive play as well.
This little soft floater into center field. It looked initially like Kosuke might have a chance to make a play on that ball, but it dropped safely in front, and his first thought was get a force play on the runner at second. I love the way Kosuke thinks out there in center field. Yeah, the run was going to score from third base. There was nothing you could do about that, but because the runner, Garrett Anderson, had to hold up between first and second to make sure the ball was down, Kosuke was looking for a force play.
Sinker low to Kochman, who's 0 for 1. The pitch hit foul. We'll send out happy birthday wishes to Elaine DeWitt watching tonight in Melbourne, Florida. Tying run at the plate. Cubs lead 4-1. Braves with 3 singles in this inning. Check swing, and Wells knocks it down, but couldn't keep it in his glove, and they're loaded up. That's an error on Randy.
Maybe the slightest bit of confusion there. Looked like Wells initially had thoughts about getting the lead runner at third base as he came off the mound. Might have taken his eye off the ball just momentarily to see if Ramirez was covering third. As you can clearly see, Ramirez was coming in to make a play on that ball. So an error on Randy Wells.
And there would have been no play at third. And there's nowhere to put Matt Diaz. The Braves are 11th in the league in runs. They've pitched a lot better than they have hit this year, but this is their moment to try to get back into this game. Bases loaded, 1 out. A strange goal for the Braves. They at one time had a 5-game winning streak. They were in Washington playing the last place Nationals, but they lost Saturday and Sunday. Bullpen blew a lead on Saturday, and they ended up losing that series. Oh, 2. As Randy Wells tries to get off the hook here. The pitch. Diaz stays alive. Three singles and an error. A run in for Atlanta. Wells gets a sign from Soto. Here he comes in tight. See the runners. Anderson is the lead man at third, with Escobar at second and Kochman at first. Swing and a miss. A huge punch out for Wells. Still not out of it, but he does face the pitcher to get out of it.
Boy, nice job of setting up that changeup for strike three. Came in hard with a 91-mile-an-hour fastball off the plate inside on the pitch before, and then comes back with an 84-mile-an-hour changeup that just died when it got to the strike zone.
Diaz frustrated as he heads back to the bench. And here's Jurgens. Ground ball to short. This will get Wells out of the inning. Boy, it could have been a lot worse than it was. The Braves got one, but left them loaded. It's 4-1 Cubs. The 2008 All-Star game. This year it'll be only one. Ted Lilly of the United States. Last year 6 countries or territories represented. And I think we got them all. Kosuke Fukudome, who was an All-Star in his rookie year, will lead off the bottom of the 4th. He has a single and an RBI double. He and scored a run as well. I am guessing Kosuke will not fly back home to Japan for the All-Star break. If he does, he'll basically fly home Monday, come back here Tuesday or Wednesday, and have to go to Washington. Well, the Cubs, I think this is the first year since you and I have been here. The Cubs have to play that Thursday after the All-Star game. It's a shorter break than normal. Three and 0. Everybody's gotten on base in this lineup except for Aramis Ramirez, who's 0 for 2. Ball 4.
Hey, fans, don't miss the action as the Cubs battle the Cardinals this Friday. Game time is 1:20, but be sure to arrive early. The first 10,000 adults 21 and older will receive a Cubs white T-shirt, compliments of Bud Light.
This is game 80 for the Cubs. They're 40 and 39, including 24 and 14 at Wrigley Field. So a great chance to do some major damage in the division this week. Doing tonight 7 more before the break, all at home. Fukudome runs. The pitch is very high. The throw in plenty of time leads you to believe a hit and run was in order as Fukudome just stopped as he was tagged by Escobar. Terrio never had a chance to swing the bat, if that's in fact what it was. Look back, and
Kosuke was peeking back there. Still, you'd like to see him go ahead and make the slide into second base just for safety's sake. It's a lot easier to just go ahead and slide into the bag, even if the tag is there waiting for you, than to try to stop. I mean, as a hitter in a hit and run situation, you tell yourself, I'm going to swing at anything, I'm going to put the ball in play, and then you see that pitch coming right at your face. It's pretty tough to pull the trigger. You're just trying to get out of the way.
Jurgen's having trouble with his landing spot. He has not looked comfortable all night. He has not loved a couple calls by the home plate umpire Darryl Cousins. He's given up 7 hits already. Escobar flags it down on the one hopper. Two down. Brings up Derek Lee. What a night. Mild temperatures, a little warmer than it's been. We're going to have a couple of hot days coming up this week.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Finally, summer.
Fine with us. Off the plate inside. 1-1.
Well, it's just a beautiful night here at Wrigley. The 6:05 start time, an hour earlier than normal for the night games. It's just a beautiful, beautiful scene.
Popped into short center. Escobar is out. McLeod coming in and calling for it. And the inning is over. We'll head off to the 5th. It'll be the top of the order, starting with McLeod for Atlanta. Cubs 4, Braves 1. Nate McLouth sends one deep to right and gone on the first pitch of the 5th inning. That's his 14th home run. And it's now 4-2.
14th on the season, 5th as a member of the Atlanta Braves. He's pretty much done exactly what they brought him over here to do. Jumpstart the offense among those outfielders, steal a base from time to time, and here leading off the 5th inning, flexing his muscles a little bit.
Randy Wells has done a good job of keeping the ball in the ballpark. This is the 5th home run he has allowed, and this is his 68th inning of work. Oh, 2 to Martin Prado. Check down at first. Todd Titchener said he held up. 1-2. Nine homers for Nate McLouth against the Cubs. 8 have come here at Wrigley Field. He looks different. It's his hair, right? He used to have like bleach blonde hair. Terrio and Fontenot, it'll be the shortstop to take it.
You know, Atlanta's a little more conservative. They've always been known as a very professional, business-like clubhouse, so a little more traditional look from Nate McLouth.
Am I crazy, or does he have a different hair color?
You're right.
You're so inquisitive. You were asking questions before. I think you should be the one to ask him.
I don't like to ask guys about their hair. It's kind of personal.
Chipper Jones inside, ball 1. And while you're at it, you can also ask Jeff Francoeur about a story I read last week. I guess he's been breaking out what he calls his turkey underwear when they need a win. And according to the story, they usually do win when he wears the turkey underwear. So ask him about his underwear and McLouth about his hair.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then report back.
Big hit in the clubhouse over there on the first base side. You know, that begs the question, if they win when he wears the turkey underwear, why wouldn't you wear the turkey underwear every day? And why wouldn't everybody wear turkey underwear? I guess it just applies to certain people.
See, that speaks to your intellect. You're being very logical about this.
Mojo, things that worked for one guy and maybe not for somebody else.
Jones in the air to center. This is Fukudome, 2 outs. Cubs Destinations, a preferred baseball road trip provider of the team, provides fans with the most unique VIP road trip experience available. Each package includes great tickets, first-class hotel accommodations, a tour of the ballpark, and a private meet and greet with a current Cubs player. For more information, visit Cubs.com. Here comes Brian McCann. For the 3rd time, he's 1 for 2. Ball 1. It's Jeff Francoeur. Available off the bench tonight. Swing and a miss by McCann, 1-1.
You know, I've been known to wear my lucky underwear when I feel we need to have a really good broadcast on a given night.
You just stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah, I thought I would.
Hopefully that they're doing that on purpose. A lot of smoke coming from a grill or something over there. And Kosuke on the move will catch it. Thankfully to end the inning, so I don't have to ask Bob anymore about what he's wearing tonight. Leadoff homer for McLouth. It's 4-2 Cubs.
Usually he's very good at the beginning of the game, and somewhere about the third time through the opposing batting order, the average jumps up, the runs per inning jump up. So a good sign that they scored against him early, and hopefully they're going to score some more.
And they're trying to win their 4th out of 5 games to start this 11-game homestand. Bradley grounds to first, picked up by Casey Kochman, who has not committed an error as an Atlanta Brave. 1 out. As Ramirez comes up for the 3rd time, let's go back to something we hope we don't have to see anymore. That was a dislocated left shoulder. It's the 3rd time in his career he suffered that injury. I think everybody in the ballpark knew exactly what had happened right when he went down. Did grab his wrist, but it was the shoulder, and it cost him 2 months. He's going to get it barehanded by Escobar to throw out Ramirez. Well, Escobar with that little hesitation earlier that allowed Terrio to reach on the infield RBI single, but 2 excellent defensive plays since.
Perhaps a little over-aggressiveness on the part of Ramos. Ramirez has had 3 at-bats, and 2 of those he swung at the first pitch, made quick outs. That'll come. Getting that feel for your own strike zone and what pitches you want to swing at, what pitches you know you shouldn't swing at. It's usually the last thing to come for a hitter in spring training. Guys get to camp, and physically they're in good shape, but they still need to get their hitting muscles in shape. And as spring training progresses, usually the last thing to come back is your own strike zone, knowing which pitches you can handle and you should swing at, and which pitches you should lay off on.
This one will be caught by Prado in a broken bat flare. Off the bat of Soriano, very quick inning. 5 pitches for Jurgens in the 5th. 4-2 Cubs. Fest coverage starts with BMW Cubs pregame live. Don't miss the Cubs hosting the Braves Wednesday. Pregame live at 12:30 here on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Right-handers Kenshin Kawakami and Carlos Zambrano on Wednesday. Javier Vasquez, Ryan Dempster tomorrow night. 1-1 to Garrett Anderson. Braves inching their way back into this contest with single tallies in the 4th and again in the 5th. We're now in the 6th. Line foul. Sean Marshall warming up. David Ross is in the bullpen with his back to home plate, and that's a scary situation when you see the fans right next to you start to cover their heads. That's why you have a guy protecting that catcher. Boone Logan, former member of the White Sox, is just standing on the mound, not throwing at the moment.
He will, what they call, pitch along with the inning. If Garrett Anderson should reach to lead off the inning, he'll probably start playing a little catch, and then if Escobar should reach, start throwing a little more in earnest in anticipation of a pinch hit in that pitcher spot. Tip off the glove of Giovanni Soto. That's always a frustrating feeling. You feel like you should catch him, but there's really nothing you can do. There's no adjustment you can make in that 2 feet from the time the batter makes contact and change directions of the baseball and the time it hits your glove.
Right at Terrio on the ground. 1 out. So Angel Guzman just off the DL, getting loose along with Marshall. For individual health insurance from a name you can trust, call Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois at 866-575-BLUE. Escobar's 2 for 2 with a run driven in. Wells working quickly, 1-1 to count. Broken bat fly ball. Soriano got a good jump though, and will get there easily. Two down. Brewers and Cardinals are off tonight. They'll start a big series in Milwaukee tomorrow night.
You know, Len, we talk a lot about shutdown innings. After your ball club scores some runs for you, you go right back out there and put a 0 on the board. In a lot of ways, this is a big shutdown inning for Randy Wells because his offense went up there and made 3 quick outs in 5 pitches. You take your momentum wherever you can get it in this game of baseball. I'm sure the Braves were feeling like, boy, if we can do something this inning against Wells, put a run or 2 on the board, we're right back in this ball game. But 2 quick outs for Randy, and hopefully get out of this inning unscathed.
The Birds, for an early evening meal, have taken over center field. Matt Diaz hits a ground ball to Terrio. He gets it to Fontenot, plenty of time at second as they force Kochman. So a 2-out single, no runs for the Braves. Last of the 6th, Cubs lead by 2.
Prizes will be awarded to lucky fans in random seats. Compliments of 7-Eleven. Oh, thank heaven.
Bottom three in the last of the sixth, starting with Giovanni Soto, strike one. Jair Jurgens has battled all night. Best inning was the fifth. He made quick work of the middle of the order. Bird stopped for a few minutes, but pretty much left at this point. Just a few circling the outfield. Popped into right. Diaz comes over, but will not have a play on it.
That wind we talked about at the beginning of the ball game, blowing from right to left, has pretty much died completely. And when there is no wind and warm temperatures here at Wrigley Field, that's when the ball tends to jump. Flag is barely moving out there in center field.
Just foul. One and two on Soto. Cubs lead 4-2. Both teams with 7 hits, each with a home run. Clout for Atlanta, Lee for the Cubs. Harbor right at Yunel Escobar. As Mike Fontenot digs in, Angel Guzman goes back out to the bullpen now, with Randy Wells now on deck. Randy Johnson is on the DL. Has a strained shoulder. He injured it on a swing at the plate yesterday, and then left after a throwing error at the top of the fourth. He's 45 years old. He's 8-6. Done a nice job for the Giants. 303 career wins for the big unit. Roy Oswalt beat him yesterday. He's starting to heat up. 3-1 with a .213 over his last 4 starts. And a long trip for the Astros home, and they lead 2-0 over the Pirates in the bottom of the second tonight. Mike Hampton against Virgil Vasquez in that one. Astros only 4 back in the Central. A swing and a miss, strike 3. His first strikeout.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
I'm on a changeup. Changeup was reported to be his go-to pitch when he needed some strikeouts, when he needed a swing and a miss. And you can see why it's such a good pitch, but he hasn't been able to consistently throw it around the strike zone tonight. When you take a pitcher's best pitch away, the one he likes to go to in tough situations, it's going to be a struggle for any pitcher.
Not a lot of strikeouts in this game. Wells with 4 and Jurgens now with 1. Escobar's had a very active night. And Jurgens seems to be getting stronger. Off to the 7th. Jurgens probably will be pinch hit for. It's 4-2 Cubs. action analysis from Todd Hollinsworth, and check in on Lou Pinella's post-game remarks. Don't miss Lowe's Cubs post-game live immediately following the game right here on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. And as you can see, Todd was already practicing, rehearsing for tonight. We just couldn't hear him. That'll be it for Randy Wells. Gregor Blanco, left-handed batter, announced as a pinch hitter. And Lou chooses to go with the lefty Sean Marshall here. And a nice hand for Randy Wells as he exits with a chance for his 4th straight win. We'll be back. Details, visit Cubs.com, where baseball is always on. Gregor Blanco taken out, so you can cross his name off that extras list. Jeff Francoeur is going to bat against Sean Marshall. And the 0-1 pitch. Francoeur swings away and slices it foul out of play.
Only the second pinch hit appearance of the season for Jeff Francoeur, and he's up at the plate right now because even though he's hitting .244 on the season, he's a .295 hitter against left-handed pitching.
Another excellent outing for Randy Wells. It was a quality start. 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs. Didn't walk anybody. Struck out 4 and allowed the home run to McLouth in the 5th. A win tonight would make it 4 in his last 4 starts. He couldn't buy one.
Good teaser pitch right there. 0-2 from Sean Marshall. Threw a little slow breaking ball up there that bounced right on home plate. He actually got another pitch to play with here if he wants to. Try to get Francoeur to chase a bad one.
Just missed the outside corner on a backdoor curve. 2-2. There's really no reason to throw a pitch in the strike zone in this spot against a free swinger like Francoeur. Backhanded by Terrio. It's a long throw, and it's going to pull Derek Lee way off first base on a single by Francoeur.
Ryan might have had a play if he was able to keep his feet underneath him there when he went to plant in shallow left field. He lost his footing just enough that he couldn't get anything on the throw. Right there, the right foot skidded just a couple of inches. Throw pulls Derek off the bag. Francoeur on with an infield single.
And McLouth represents the tying run. He has singled, struck out, and hit a home run, and that'll be caught by Lee. So McLouth trying to drag bunt for a base hit. And he lines to Derek Lee. 1 out.
Clough will do that against tough lefties. He'll give in and try to bunt that ball past him toward the second baseman. That time he popped it in the air right to Derek Lee.
So it's Prado with 1 out. Low and inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Hi guys, welcome to Wrigley Field. If it's your first time here. We have a lot of repeat customers here in the friendly confines. One and one.
That old potato chip commercial. Bet you can't eat just one. Well, I bet you can't come here just once. If you come once, you want to come back again. And again and again.
John using that curveball a lot. So Prado with the eye black as we started with some sun. The sun left in the ballpark is in the bleachers in center and in right, and a little sliver up top along the first base line. Rocketed foul.
And as a cost-cutting measure, the Braves have obviously fired their makeup artist. Joaquin Prado, do-it-yourself eye black there today.
Cooper look. Kick in the 2-2, a bouncer foul. I guess it's 70s night, so you might as well go for that sort of thing. With Ramirez fielding that ground ball, he hasn't had any chances tonight. First game off the DL.
Pretty sure he didn't have any chances in his first 2 rehab outings with Peoria Chiefs.
Well, you know what's going to happen here. How about a 5-4-3 double play?
I'm all for it.
Full count to Prado with Chipper Jones on deck. Key moment in this game, the Cubs leading by 2. Eric Estrada coming up with our 7th inning stretch. Anxiously awaiting. You don't need this. Come on. Runner not going, and another foul.
Well, I know one thing, Len. Back in 1979, one of us here in the booth was voted one of the 10 sexiest bachelors in the world.
Well, I happen to be the youngest. I was 8 at the time, so I appreciate you bringing that up. Oh, you're talking about our guest.
Yes.
Okay. Ground ball, how about 2? Going to be tough. They get 1, and that's it. So 2 down with Chipper Jones coming up.
Yeah, nice effort by the Cubs middle infielders, but Terrio had to go too far to his right to get to this ball. Fondo gives it a shot at first base as Francoeur barrel rolled him out there at second base, but not in time to complete the double play.
You got to hold your ground there if you're Mike Fontenot just to take that throw. Clean slide by Francoeur. Here's Jones batting right-handed against the lefty Marshall. As hot as Prado and Diaz were coming into tonight, they've combined to go 0 for 7. And Marshall now facing future Hall of Famer Chipper Jones. 2 balls, no strikes. Missed again, 3-0. We start to get to the point here, Bob. You almost want to just give him ball 4. Chipper Jones is not going to expand his zone too much, especially ahead in the count. You have a left-handed hitter, Brian McCann, on deck, who's hitting under 240 against lefties. Ball 4. I call it unintentional, but it was about as close to intentional as it gets. It's the first walk issued by Cubs pitching tonight.
And now the important thing for Sean Marshall is to get right back into that strike zone after that semi-intentional walk to Chipper Jones. Well, you got to find the corners of that strike zone again quickly on Brian McCann.
Angel Guzman is standing and watching in the bullpen. This is Marshall's guy, and the guy on deck also a lefty, Garrett Anderson. There's a strike. 1-1. The Birds are back. Trying to find some food out in center. Ground ball, Derek Lee picks it up. Marshall covering first. Time for the stretch with Eric
Tonight's
Estrada.
guest conductor for Take Me Out to the Ball Game is the star of the show, Chips and 70s icon, Eric Estrada.
All right, fans, let me hear you. A 1, 2, 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanut and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I never get back. We're gonna root for the Cubbies. It's a shame if they don't win. But it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. All right, let's get some run.
Of our 7th inning stretch tonight here on 70s Night. Eric, a pleasure to have you in the booth with us as Peter Moylan will take over for the Atlanta Braves. How are you?
I'm terrific. God, this is so neat. Last time I did this here 3 years ago, I believe, I had my wife and daughter with me. This time they couldn't come because I just came from Watkins Glen up at the races. So they couldn't make the trip with me.
Well, beautiful night for baseball tonight. The Cubs lead 4-2. And you know, we'll twist, you know, a lot of the great singers and bands, when they do the live rendition, you know, they got to change the lyrics up a little bit.
Well, yeah,
right
just a touch.
Just a little bit. You put your own trademark on it.
Well, you want to personalize it just a smidgen because you don't want to get beat up on the way out of here. The fans will beat you up.
And we got to tell the story. A lot of, you know, the seventh inning stretch guest. See, it says right there, seventh inning stretch singer 2009, and Eric signed it. After they sing it, they throw it out of the booth. But you're going to give it to a specific young fan. Tell us the story.
Well, when I got here, I went out to the field before I threw the first pitch in, the ceremony first pitch. I was signing autographs with the fans, and I kept going down the line until it ended. And there was one kid looks up at me, and he says, "What's it feel like?" I said, "What?" And he says, "What's it feel like to be on the field?" And I just froze, and I said, so I went to the proper authorities. I said, "Hey, can I bring that kid out on the field for 10 seconds?" And they said, "Sure, but do it quickly because they don't like that." So I just grabbed the kid, picked him up, stood him on the field for a little bit, and I said, "Feel it, feel it, feel it. Okay, let's go." And I put him back. And then when I threw my pitch in, I was looking for the kid to give the ball to him because it was signed by the catcher, Fox, and I was going to look for the kid, but I didn't know. That was way down there. When I got into this room, the kid is sitting over here, and he waved at me, and I said,
"There he is.
I want to give him the hat."
Great. So when we're done, you're going to
I'm going to give it to the kid.
That's a great story. Nicely done, Eric. Well, Bob always says, "Give it to a kid."
Give it to a kid.
It's all about, isn't it all about the kids?
Absolutely.
No doubt about it. 3-2 on Fukudome. Here's a pitch by Moylan. Ground ball to short. There's that guy again, Yunel Escobar. And he throws on to first. So, Bob, what was the note you had on Eric, 1979?
Yeah, one of the 10 sexiest men alive. That's not funny. That's a serious thing now, Eric. A lot of us would chew off a finger to get voted the sexiest man alive.
Well, yeah, it's kind of embarrassing, but then it's not. And you gotta weigh it.
You like knowing that fact, but you don't like being asked about it. That's what it's about.
It's embarrassing. That's it. You nailed it.
All right, now we have to ask you about this. You're a police officer, right? A reserve police officer in Muncie, Indiana.
Right, for the last 4 years. And then I went over to Bedford County, Virginia, became a deputy sheriff. And now I'm an investigator with Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Excuse me. And I've actually went out on warrants and arrested a bunch of guys, shot sexual predators off the internet. And what I want to do with all this is that when I start lobbying Washington for internet safety education, put it in all our schools, I want to do it as the real deal. You know?
Well,
know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely, and I guess it begs the question: did your time on Chips get you into that, or were you already? That's something you were interested in before the show, right?
Yeah, because I wouldn't have been an actor if I wasn't an actor. I would have been a New York cop by now, probably retired, or shot, or hurt. You know, because the job is you never know from day to day. These guys put it on the line just like firemen. You don't know. You never know.
No, they don't get enough credit.
No, totally
no
not.
Question about it.
And they need our support, you know. And I've seen my share of child pornography, and I just want to do something about it. I don't want kids getting had off the internet because they're not being educated on what not to do in these 40,000 plus chat rooms that are out there. Somebody's got to teach them what not to do. Don't give out personal information. Don't accept gifts. Never go visit anybody that you've met in a chat room. And if they approach you inappropriately, uncomfortable, go to an adult and tell them.
2 outs in the inning. Derek Lee at the plate. And on a lighter topic, you were on a reality TV show a few years ago. And,
yeah.
What was that experience like? Would you do it again? I told Bob this when I saw that you were coming in last week. I said, you came off really well as Derek Lee finds a gap, and he's going to end up at least at second base with his second hit of the night. It's hard to look good after a reality TV show because they're always going to find the little spats and the arguments, but I thought you looked really good out of that. You tried to play peacemaker a lot of the time.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to do the show, period. And my wife was the one that talked me into it. I said, honey, you don't want to put me in a place, in a house with a bunch of people, and if they become knuckleheads, you know what's going to happen. She says, no, you're not. She says, you're going to go, and you're going to be the guy I married. You're going to be the father and the son and the brother that you are. That's the guy I want people to see, because they only know you as Punch. Nobody knows the guy I'm married to. I want that. When you get angry and you get upset, leave the house. But don't you raise a finger to anyone. So when I got in the house, first thing I had to deal with was Vanilla Ice. I said, oh, my God, am I going to stuff this guy in a pillowcase, or, you know, sooner or later, we're going to either stuff each other in pillowcases. So then I figured, you know what, I'm twice his age. I decided to raise him.
And you did, yeah.
And learn him. And then Tammy Faye, when you meet Tammy Faye, she really is what she talked. She walked the talk. She really was about Jesus and love and all this. So when you meet her, all you want to do is protect her. Tracy Bingham, there were times I wanted to stick a fork in her neck. Okay? I did. And then Trishelle was a sweetheart when she wasn't drinking. And then there was Ron Jeremy. I got to tell you, what a blessed guy. But you know what about him? What I found interesting, he is a certified special education teacher, and you put him down in front of a piano or any instrument, especially a piano, and he can play anything from Mozart to jazz without sheet music. He's quite intelligent and quite friendly, and doesn't have to flaunt it. Right. I wouldn't either if I was that lucky.
Right. Well, little known fact.
Too much information.
Yeah, a little bit. One strike, Ramos Ramirez. 2 on. They intentionally walked Bradley to get to Aramis, and he's going to hit a ground ball to short. Escobar the throw to second. Eric, really a pleasure to have you with us in the booth, and best of luck again.
Thank you.
Appreciate to see you, and also what you said about police officers, absolutely true. So best of luck in that endeavor.
All right. God bless you.
Putting the Cubs on top. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Carlos Marmol is on as we start the 8th. Thanks to Eric Estrada for joining us and regaling us with his reality TV stint. It's an interesting group.
Turned into a reality TV show up here, didn't it? I only have one question. What team does Ron Jeremy play for?
I think he's semi-retired.
Okay.
Never heard of him. 0-2 on Garrett Anderson. Carlos Marmol, the third Cubs pitcher tonight.
I will say this. Eric Estrada probably posed for as many pictures tonight here at Wrigley Field as Mr. T did when he made his appearance up here in the 7th inning. He couldn't have been more gracious with the fans down on the field and in the stands and up here in the press box, really enjoying his night here at Wrigley.
Two strikes on Anderson. 4-2 Cubs. We've seen Wells, we've seen Marshall, and now Marmol. Going to set up for Kevin Gregg. Nice slider to strike out Anderson. This Sunday is AM/PM day here at Wrigley Field. Watch the Cubs take on the Cardinals at 7:05. Be sure to arrive early. The first 20,000 fans will receive a Cubs cooler bag, compliments of AM/PM. Too much good stuff. One and 0 on Yunel Escobar. Slider strike, 1-1. Marmol has a sign from Soto. The pitch. Escobar able to hold, and it's 3-1. Kochman on deck. And outside again. Ball 4. Rafael Soriano and Manny Acosta up in the Atlanta pen. The pitch to Kochman way outside, and Soto was up quickly to head out to the mound. Carlos struggling with his command. While we have a moment, let's check in on the Home Depot doing more on defense. Kosuke Fukudome. Great jump. Nice running catch. He's back in the 5th inning. Bobbing Brian McCann. The 1-0 outside. Struggling with that slider.
We're pretty close to seeing Angel Guzman get back up in the bullpen for the Cubs. Marmol has been known to find it after losing that strike zone for a batter or two and pitch himself out of a jam, but in a 2-run ball game, you don't want to create a jam.
Diaz on deck, 0 for 3. A pitch. Slider strike. You sound like a broken record, but this pitch doesn't have to be in the zone. There's 3-2. There's a 3-1, but it has to at least give Kochman the idea it might be hittable. And it is, and a 1 bouncer. Nice flip by Fontenot. They turn the double play. and get out of the inning. Well, Marmol was teetering there for a moment, but gets a 4-6-3 double play, and we'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Cubs lead by 2. And he'll face Soriano, Soto, and Fontenot. The Cubs try to tack on, already leading by 2. Here's a pitch. An infield pop-up. It's caught by Martin Prado. Soriano is 1 for 4. Let's take a gander at the Felco upcoming schedule. Here it comes. There it is. Off day Thursday. We'll have the 3rd and final game of this series right here on Comcast Sportsnet. And then we'll greet you next from Washington, D.C. a week from Thursday. One 1-0 to Giovanni Soto. Make it 1-1. Closer Kevin Gregg chatting with Lester Strode, looking at those scouting reports on the scheduled hitters for Atlanta in the 9th.
Always gets a little dicey when the second batter you face is at pitcher spot, and you're never quite sure who Bobby Cox may choose to send up there as a pinch hitter. He does have a switch hitter available, Conrad. Otherwise, Hernandez and Ross, both right-handed hitters off the bench. Blanco, the only straight left-handed hitter that Bobby Cox had available, and he was burned when Lou Piniella made the switch to Sean Marshall.
Soto deep to left center, and it's off the bottom of the wall for a double for Soto. A lot more pop out of the Cubs catcher the last few weeks.
It's a ball belt high out over the plate where he can really extend his arms and hook that ball back to the gap in left center. Hits right at the base of the wall, just to the left of the 368 mark.
Roger McDowell coming out to talk with Acosta. Award-winning musical entertainment invades Wrigley Field this summer. Coming up, Billy Joel and Elton John perform their face-to-face tour Thursday, July 16th and Tuesday, July 21st. Rascal Flatts perform their Unstoppable tour on Saturday, July 18th. Tickets are still available. You can visit tickets.com or call 1-800-THE-CUBS. Mezzanine suites are also available by calling 773-404-CUBS. Nothing like baseball, and also now rock and roll concerts, country shows here at Wrigley Field. A great venue. Ball one to Mike Fontenot. Two and 0. Pop foul and out of play. Hoffpower on deck. Bat for pitcher Marmol. Anderson's over. It's into the front row, right behind the bullpen. 2-2. Cubs with 2 in the first on the homer by Derek Lee. 2 more big ones in the second, and the thing you love about that inning, Bob, is it all happened with 2 outs. 4 straight hits.
It started with the bottom of the order. Mike Fontenot, the 8-hitter, had the first base hit. Randy Wells got a hit of his own, and then Fukudome doubled. Ryan Theriot singled. Love those 2-out rallies.
Called strike 3. So 2 down in the inning, and it's Micah Hoffpower for Marmol. You have a feeling we're going to be asked by everyone we run into the next 40 years about tonight's 7th inning stretch interview?
Possibility.
We've had a few where the minute the guest walks out, you say to yourself, that's going to be talked about for a while. This power is going to ground out to second. So off to the 9th. And Kevin Gregg will try to notch the save with the Cubs leading 4-2. All-Star team. It's a BMW Ultimate Drive of the game. Kevin Gregg working to Matt Diaz. Switching. Brooks Conrad is on deck. And then Nate McLeod. Slider strike 1-1 to Diaz. He's so far able to cool off Diaz, who was 13 for his last 21 coming in. Fastball missed. Well, it never fails, Bob. Late in a game, usually the last time around when the team's down 1 or 2 or 3 runs, the batters seem to get more patient. And Diaz likes to swing the bat. 2-2.
You don't know whether that's Diaz on his own just trying to be more patient, or Bobby Cox alerted the hitters as they went to the plate, hey, we need a base runner right here, make him throw strikes.
Why? I mean, I wouldn't ask you why guys are patient in this spot. We know why, but why aren't those guys patient earlier in games? The most aggressive hitters in baseball are always most patient late. Swing and a miss, struck him out. Is it because they see the score and it's obvious we need 2 runs here?
Yeah,
is that why?
I think you understand that you're running out of outs in the ball game, and you got to do whatever you can to win a game. Earlier in the ball game, you're thinking, well, if he throws me a first pitch strike, I'm going to whack at it and try to put my team on the board or try to get on base for the guys hitting behind me. But later in the ball game, everything becomes more magnified, and you understand what your role is as a leadoff hitter in a 2-run game.
Here is Conrad, who had a game-winning 3-run homer Friday in the 7th inning as a pinch hitter in Washington. First career home run. He was called up earlier in the day from AAA Gwinnett. An all-star in the AAA International League. 2-0 the count. Any base runners in the tying run will come up. And it gets a lot tougher after Conrad. Back to the top and Nate McLeod. It's Conrad old school with no batting gloves, no wristbands or anything. Former Oakland A. Just a handful of games with the A's, 3-1. That was last year. So back-to-back full counts for Gregg. The 3-2 pitch just got a piece. 40,042 the paid attendance here tonight. Gregg with his first game since Friday when he got the win. Season high tying 2 scoreless innings. And another 3-2 pitch, another foul. Two teams ahead of the Cubs are off tonight. A chance to get within 2 of St. Louis and within 1 of second place Milwaukee.
Couple of good rips by Conrad, fouling the Kevin Gregg fastball straight back. Just keep going right after him. Right now, even if Conrad should happen to hit a solo home run, you still have a 1-run lead in the ball game. The worst thing you could do is put him on base and set up a potential for a tying 2-run homer.
Another foul, so it'll be at least a 10-pitch at bat.
On occasion, we've seen Kevin Gregg kind of go with his version of a quick pitch. He kind of pitches out of that abbreviated windup. And we've seen him at times just slide right into his delivery trying to catch the hitter off balance, and it's worked for him in some tough situations. That time he came to a set position, took a deep breath, waited a second, and then delivered the pitch to home plate. The one I'm talking about is he gets a sign from Gio, he comes up to the set position and just goes. He doesn't hesitate at all.
Ramirez taking a look. Well, this is a big league battle here. Greg and Conrad. Ready for pitch number 12 coming up.
Well, if you're Bobby Cox, you're rooting for Conrad and the on-deck hitter Nate McLeod to see enough pitches to perhaps take Kevin Gregg out of the equation tomorrow.
This one playable, but Soriano got a late jump. He's going to get there, maybe battling the tough sky as we near dusk. 2 outs. And it brings up McLeod. By the way, as is often the case, this game will be replayed at 2 a.m. Central Time on Comcast Sportsnet. If you missed it, want to check it out again, maybe you missed the 7th inning stretch, and kind of glad it's late at night considering our guest tonight and the topics discussed. The 0-1 to McLeod, and the Braves are still alive as Martin Prado will come up. McLeod has 3 hits.
Went down and got that fastball, lined it toward the gap in right center. Milton Bradley moves over a few steps, makes sure to keep it in front, keep that runner at first base.
Well, they're making Kevin Gregg earn it. Prado for 4. The reigning National League Player of the Week. Slider strike. Knocked down by Soto. Cubs aren't really concerned about McLeod, although you'd like to keep him there just to create the force play at second.
Derek Lee's not even holding on Nate McLeod at first base, which tells you, just as you said, they're not really too concerned with him over there at first, but also that Martin Prado sprays the ball all over the field. Normally you would only do this with a left-handed pull hitter at the plate.
Prado upset maybe he didn't swing at that pitch. 1-2. Say that because he was upset before it was called a strike. Fans are up. McLeod runs and a ground ball to second, picked up by Fontenot. Cubs win. They've taken 4 of 5 on the homestand, and they win in Aramis Ramirez's return to the lineup. He went 0 for 4, but everybody else picked him up early on. They got all 4 runs in the first 2 innings, and Randy Wells has won 4 straight.